Hello, this is Charlene. We're going to be using Venn diagrams to visualize and solve survey results. They tell us that there's a survey of 200 middle school students about whether they own cell phones or MP3 players or laptop computers or some combination thereof. They want us to identify regions on the Venn diagram that represent different pieces of data. So the regions are going to be these Roman numerals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So those are the regions that they're asking us to identify. So the first thing they want to know is students who own a cell phone. So we're going to go over here and look at the cell phone circle. Well, this entire circle contains all the regions that represent the cell phone ownership. And we are going to put 1, 2, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 4, and 5 are all the regions that are inside the cell phone circle. So these regions represent the students who own a cell phone. Okay, let's go down and see what else they want to know about. They want to know about students who own an MP3 player. So again, I'm going to go to the MP3 circle. This is the MP3 circle. And the regions that represent students who own MP3 players are regions 2, regions 3, region 5, and region 6. That's 2, 3, 5, and 6. Okay, next question is students who own a laptop. Okay, so here's the laptop circle. We will go and look inside the laptop circle. So all the regions that are inside the laptop circle are regions 4, region 5, region 6, and region 7. So that's 4, 5, 6, and 7. So those regions represent the students who own a laptop. Okay, and this question, they want to know about students who own a cell phone and an MP3 player. So we need to talk about what the word and means. And means both a cell phone. I can't write today. Both a cell phone and an MP3 player. So it is going to be an overlap area between these two circles, an overlap area. It's going to be an intersection. You could call that an intersection. Intersection. Okay, so that means I'm going to go look at the cell phone circle. Cell phone circle is right there. And then I'm also going to look at the MP3 circle. MP3 circle. So where is the overlap between those two circles? Well, this space right here is the overlap area or the intersection between these two circles. So that means that anybody who owns both a cell phone and an MP3 would be in this area. They own both. And it is represented by regions 2 and regions 5. So my answer is regions 2 and region 5 represent the students who own both a cell phone and an MP3 player. Our next problem or question says that they want us to look at students who own an MP3 player and a laptop. So again, we have to think overlap. So let's go find the MP3 player circle. MP3 circle. And I'm going to find the laptop circle, which is down here at the bottom. And the word and means the overlap. Where is the overlap between these two circles? It is all of this space right here. There's the overlap. So the students who are in that space will own both an MP3 player and a laptop. So that's going to include regions 5 and region 6. So 5 and 6. Okay, the next question says, students who own a cell phone and a laptop. So let's go find the cell phone circle and the laptop circle. And that's going to be this one and this one, this circle. And again, the word and means laptop or overlap. So we're going to color in this entire space. And that means that it is going to be regions 4 and 5. So regions 4 and regions 5 represent the students who own both a cell phone and a laptop. Now we have one last question about the regions. We have students who own a cell phone, an MP3 player, and a laptop. So the word and technically is in between, it's implied but between cell phone and MP3. So cell phone and MP3 player and laptop. So it's going to be the overlap of all three. Anytime you have the overlap or the intersection of all three, it is going to be the middle of your Venn diagram. And that is kind of weird. Computer's doing weird things on its own. Okay, so that central area, all three will be in the middle. If you have a 3-circle Venn diagram and it's saying they own all three, it is going to be the middle space. So what is the region in the middle space? It is just region 5. So only region 5 represents the students who own a cell phone and an MP3 player and a laptop. Next part of our work here is going to be considering these 200 students that they've surveyed. We've been dealing with the region numbers, the Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but now we're going to put actual numbers of students in our Venn diagram. Now, you might think that because they gave us this total first and 59 students on a cell phone at the top of the list, you might think, we need to start there. No, we do not. We need to start in the middle of our Venn diagram, which means that we need to go find which students own all three. All three, cell phone, MP3 player, and a laptop. So, we need to go down here at the bottom. 15 own all three. So instead of starting at the top of this data list, we're actually going to start here at the bottom. They tell us that 15 students own all three. So that means 15 is going to go in the center because that is where the all three circles intersect. This little section is part of the cell phone circle. This little section is also part of the MP3 circle, and this little section is also part of the laptop section. So that is the intersection of all three circles, and that will go in the middle of our Venn diagram. And that's where we need to start, is in the middle. And again, my computer is doing weird things all on its own. It's got a poltergeist, I think. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to look at is 21 students own a cell phone and a laptop. Again, the word and is about an intersection or an overlap. So we want to look at cell phones and laptops. So here is cell phones and laptops. So that means that the intersection between those two is going to be here. It's like it's going to be this whole section, la, 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 right there. But I don't want to just plop 21 in there because we've already counted 15. So I am going to put 21 out here just to remind me that 21 people own a cell phone and the same 21 people own a laptop as well. but I do not want to count these people twice. I've already got 15 people in here. So that means I need to subtract off those 15 people in order not to count those people twice. So that means I'm going to do 21 minus 15. And when I do that, 21 minus 15 gives me 6. 6 more people own a cell phone and a laptop. 15 of those 21 people own all three. But now these two numbers, 6 plus 15, equals the total of 21. But I've not counted them twice because I've subtracted off the 15 in this outer section. Okay, hopefully that makes sense, but let's continue on. The next thing says that we have 25 students who own an MP3 player and a laptop. So again, we have that word and, so it's going to be an intersection between the MP3 players and the laptops. Okay, so I've got laptop, here's the laptop, and here's the MP3. So I'm talking about the intersection between the two, and it says that 25 students own both of those. So that means 25 total needs to go in that intersected area or that overlap area. But again, I need to subtract off the 15 that is already accounted for. So that means I'm going to do 25 minus 15, and that means that in this area, it is going to be 10. 10 students own not all three, but just an MP3 player and a laptop. Okay, let's keep moving. We are going to do 20 students own a cell phone and an MP3 player. So again, I'm going to go find the cell phone and MP3. So I've got cell phone and MP3 here. So we're talking about this intersection area, and they tell us that 20 students have both of those. So I'm going to do 20 students. However, I've already got 15 accounted for here, so I need to subtract the 15 so that I do not double count these people. So that means 5 students own 2 of these devices, a cell phone and MP3, but 15 own all 3. Okay, so now let's keep going. We've got, let's do this one. 42 students own a laptop computer. So this is asking us to look at laptop computers only. So the laptop computer circle, its total is 42. So its total is 42. But we already have numbers in the laptop circle. We already have 6 and 15 and 10. So that means we do not want to double count those people. So that means we need to do 42 minus the 6, minus the 15, and minus the 10. And that is going to leave us with 11 people who only own a laptop and no other devices. Okay? So now let's go find a different color here. We'll do yellow. Okay, so 72 students own an MP3 player. So here's the MP3 circle, and we have 72. It says 72 students own an MP3. 72 students own an MP3. However, what numbers do we already have in the circle? I already have a 5 and a 15 and a 10. So I need to subtract off those numbers that are already in the circle so that I do not duplicate those people. So 72 minus 5, minus 15, and minus 10. And that is going to leave me with 42 people that own only an MP3 player and no other devices. So now I'm going to go to cell phones. So 59 students own a cell phone. Here is my cell phone circle, and it says that cell phone 59. 59 students own a cell phone. So it's 59 own a cell phone. But what numbers are already in my cell phone circle? 5, 15, and 6. So that means I need to subtract off 5 and minus 15 and minus 6. And then that is going to leave me with 33 students that own only a cell phone and no other devices. Okay, so now we're back up to the very top, and the very top says that 200 total students were surveyed for this Venn diagram. Okay, so now in order to figure out what number goes out here in the universal set that own none of these, the students who were in the survey, but none of them own a cell phone or an MP3 player or a laptop, I need to subtract off all the numbers that are inside my Venn diagram. Well, I've got 33, I've got 5, I've got 42, I've got 6, I've got 15, I have 10, and I have 11. So all of those numbers need to be subtracted from the 200. So I would be 200 minus 33, minus 5, minus 42, minus 6, minus 15, minus 10, minus 11. Did I include them all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. And then that is going to give me how many are outside the Venn circles. And that is going to leave me with 78 students who were in the survey, but they do not own any of these 3 devices. Okay, so that was kind of, it wasn't hard. It's just a little time consuming to fill this in with the number of students that belong in each of these regions of the Venn diagram. This last portion of our video is going to be using the student numbers that we've added to our Venn diagram to answer additional questions. So this says, how many students did not have any of the 3 devices? Well, we determined that that would be the number outside the circles. It's like if they do not have the 3 devices, that means not cell phones, not MP3 players, not laptops. It is going to be this number outside the Venn circles. So 78 students do not have any of these 3 devices. Okay, and the next question says, how many students own an MP3 player or a laptop, but not a cell phone? So anytime you have the word not, that's what you need to take care of first. Not a cell phone. So if it's not a cell phone, I literally want to mark out anything and everything in the cell phone circle because I don't want to accidentally grab those numbers. So it's not a cell phone. So it could only be MP3 or laptop. So here's the deal with the word or. The word or is not an intersection. Or means union. It means union. And practically speaking, it is lots of choices. Lots of choices. So it's going to be like anything in this circle or anything in that circle. Okay, so if we're talking about MP3 and laptop, that means we're talking about MP3 and laptop. So that means we are going to choose 42 plus 10 plus 11. So 42 students plus 10, 42 students plus 10 students plus 11 students is going to give me a total of 40, 50, 60, 63, right? 63. There we go. So that is going to be the answer to this question. Students who own an MP3 player or a laptop, but not a cell phone, is 63. Okay, let's keep going. What else do they want to know? They want to know how many students own a cell phone only. So they want to know cell phone only. Okay, so this is the cell phone circle. But we have to remember that all these that are in the overlap areas would include a secondary device. So the students who own a cell phone only is just going to be the 33. So 33 students only on a cell phone and no other devices. Okay, next question says, how many students do not own an MP3? Okay, so again, anytime you see the word not, it means you need to mark out the not. So MP3 is not. We don't want to include any of those that's in that MP3 circle. And it would be 33 plus 6 plus 11. However, do these people outside the VENN circles also not own an MP3? Yes, they also do not own an MP3. So I'm going to add up all those numbers. 33 plus 6 plus 11 plus 78. And that is going to give me a total of 128 students out of the 200 that do not own an MP3 player. Okay. Next thing what they want to know is how many students own a cell phone and a laptop, but not an MP3. Again, anytime you have the word not, you need to take care of that. So not MP3. I'm going to mark out all that. Don't want to accidentally grab any of that information. And I have a cell phone and. Okay, the and, if you remember, means intersection. Intersection. So it is also, practically speaking, an overlap between the two. So we're going to go find cell phone and laptop. And the intersection is going to be just this area right here, right? It's just going to be this section that is part of the cell phone circle and part of the laptop circle. So that one was pretty simple. I just have 6 students who own a cell phone and a laptop, but not an MP3 player. Okay. How many students own a cell phone or an MP3 player or a laptop? Okay, again, we need to remind ourselves, what does the word or mean? Or means union, and it means, practically speaking, lots and lots of choices, lots of choices. So that means that it's going to be cell phones, like any of these choices, or MP3 players, so any of these choices, lots and lots of choices. Laptop, any of these choices. So that means that we are going to have 33 plus 5 plus 42 plus 6 plus 15 plus 10 plus 11. Lots of choices. So the thing is, though, all those are going to add up. If I add them up on my handy dandy calculator, they're going to add up to 122 students. 122 students own one or more of those. Okay, so let's keep going. We have one last question here. We have, how many students owns exactly 2 of the 3 devices? So exactly 2 means it's going to be the intersection between 2 circles. The intersection between 2 circles. So where is button? Is it going to be the middle? No, the middle is all 3. They want exactly 2, but that means not 3, not 3. So that means I'm not going to consider the middle. This is 3. Let's go ahead and mark that out. This is not all 3, just 2. So, but it is going to be the intersection or the overlap areas. So this right here is an overlap area between the cell phone and the laptop. And this is the overlap area between the laptop and the MP3. And this is the overlap area between the cell phone and the MP3. So that means I'm going to add up 5 plus 6 plus 10. So 5 plus 6 plus 10 is going to be 21 students that own exactly 2 devices, but not 3. Okay, so hopefully you've been able to follow this video and come to a better understanding of the process of looking at Venn diagrams in order to extract information from surveys. This video has been brought to you by Connect the Dots Online Math Tutoring. Before you leave, click on the like button and the subscribe button, and have a wonderful day.